aga m echekwa ebe ego na-adị. People's Club, oh, there's n'obodo. Ndị People's Club odogwu. Igirigi adagbukwa n'anya odogwu. Igirigi adagbukwa n'anya. Nnọkọ si adị o. Igirigi adagbukwa n'anya. Ibe anyị nọ. Oluwenu n'omume. People's Club, Mamanu. People's Club, Amakanu. Amakule sabwazi no belongwanu. Anabajaka kumadege. People's Club, na mwamora yiri abwaji obelengwa. Anyị ekenebezi national president ya Prince Tai Ike Umezoge Eze Onyema 1 na ndị nchi. Anyị n'okonkwo sobilimu achọghị ike sonyoma Vice National President na People's Club nke Nigeria. FFPC Nwangwo Osoke 1 na Northia. Second Vice National President People's Club nke Nigeria. Odinke nke niile. Onikuku 1 na Nnewi. People's Textile. Sir Joseph Osemena Nwankwo. National Law na People's Club nke Nigeria. Onye ọma n'ichisuru echisuru. Chief Augustine Ilodibe Ogbuefi Nnanerugo Ekene ndị ụwa. Chief SM Okonkwo Ese Diọra Mma n'Alọ National Petrol. Chief Emeweze Sobirino Igwe Umoji Ugotozi Akụ mgbawara ụgbọ. Chief Mo Obiora Ọkụ ome 1 na ndị isi ọgụ. Isokwa na ndị National Petrol anyị. Ese Ọchịlọzụ ha na ndị isi ọgụ. Obere nwa dị anyị mmanụ. Ndị mmadụ ka ndị si n'alụ na People's Club. ọgụgụ ejudo and is chairman working committee na People's Club nke Nigeria. Udebaga na Orifite Igwe Ezediola mma nna uche ekele Chief Bisi eze nwa sobirinu ezi nwa si obejenu eze nwa n'ibujenu eze okpoko wa n'ọba Chief Iji Keluba onye nwa n'izu Asebiaku Barrister II Ekwereku Assistant National Legal Advisor Ifediola mma n'Ọnịcha anyị ekenebebe Honorable Charles Akunwata Modoro Akwilili Ojiora Omenampo Jọjọ náà sọ̀tòdì ebi wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ ìgbẹ́kẹ̀ National State Anna Solora Okoja Sinobu Yakana Soloro FAC of Budum of Budum Chief Oshi Gabriel Okeke eze nwa mmadụ one na Nnobi onye ọmụma okebe ndị bazụ na ndị Igbo nwoke dị mma itesi mmerụ gasodiriru mmasị ofe dị jejenu Dunu Ọkigbo one nwoke dị egwu ike eweti abụọ azụ Chifo n'ike iwu n'obi anụ Olídé lọ́jọ́ ní ìdíkánú àbú ìwé. Wọ́n ti ga wà lúkú òjì ìgbòho òjò yìí. Wọ́n ti rìnà. Anyị ekenebege chief izi ndụ. Eke anyị ọba one nọket. Honorable Ifeanyi Chukwu Emechukwu. The Honorable Speaker, Anambra House of Assembly. Ọba one na ọba. Chief Edmond Ijane. You. Onye ọma ka ị ga-adị egwu. Lẹ́nu ṣe pé mo tẹ̀kẹ́lẹ́, etí wọ́n mú ẹmu ṣàkóso. Ìdí ètí ìrìnàjò. BBC Chibuka, Ishimiwa, Numoji. SP, of them, I have to. The chair of one place. Oh, then, let's go one. Now we better. And then we don't know it. I don't know it. I can eat it. Then I'm going to
Yeah, we are here. We are here. We are here. What a beautiful music. The music of the East. The music of the East. Yeah. Ooh. What do we have here? Let's text everything to make sure that everything is working right. Test the mic. Test the mic and also test. I'm not going to waste time today. If you want to join the program, you can just come right away. We don't have time to waste. If you want to join, just join right away. I'm posting the link. You can join if you want to join. As I go through this discussion, I don't really have to do a monologue, but I'll be doing some monologue though. But if you want to join during the monologue, it's an open floor. Join. You don't have to be on camera, but I just got to see your face before you come up, okay? You don't have to be on camera. Let me do testing of the mic and make sure the mic is working fine. Yeah. Mic is good. Let me increase the volume. I gotta make sure that everything is working fine. Testing, mic testing. Okay. Yeah. So thank you so much, guys, for joining today's beautiful day out there. Like I said, if you want to be part of the program, you can come up right away. I don't have to go into details on the monologue, but I'm going to be presenting monologue. But if you want to join right away. I apologize for being about 47 minutes late. I have a lot of things I was doing, and I didn't want to postpone the program, but just go with it. So today's topic is going to be on infrastructure. Infrastructure is the topic of today. Infrastructure is the topic of today. So we're going to talk about infrastructure. It's a good topic, it's a nice topic, and it's a topic that I think that most of us will really, really enjoy. Let's come up here. Let me just go straight to the presentation. Share screen. And share tab. Share screen. Share this tab. Chrome tab. I don't have a Chrome tab. Open up now. Yeah. Okay. Remove that. Okay. So today's topic is going to be on infrastructure. That's what I want. That's what we're going to be discussing today. Infrastructure is the backbone of any society. So this infrastructural discussion is going to be throughout the entire week, and is the main topic of this channel. Is discussing the infrastructure of Nigeria. Discussing because good infrastructure leads to a better business environment. You cannot have a business environment if you don't have infrastructure. It's not going to happen. Infrastructure is as a result of business environment, which means that businesses thrive when there is an infrastructure in place. Nigeria, Anambra State have to stop kidding themselves. You can never be a good nation. You can never be a great nation if you do not have infrastructure or business enabling environment. It's not going to happen. You guys are lying to yourselves. It's not going to happen. You're not going to have it. You're just pouring water on a glass. It's never going to stick. The only way you can have a conducive environment for business is that you have to develop your infrastructure. You have to build on infrastructure because we don't have infrastructure. Our infrastructure is very old and not even up to the mid 20th century infrastructure, which means we haven't even gotten into the 21st century infrastructure. We are 23 years into 21st century, but our infrastructure hasn't even surpassed that of the 20th century. We are lacking behind in different sphere. So we have to, in Nigeria, improve our infrastructure. And we have to improve it greatly. We can't kid ourselves. We can't pray ourselves through it. And we cannot talk through it. We have to put the money and put men and women to work to build this infrastructure. There is nothing anybody can do about it. Is either you deal with the problem at hand or you continue living with the problem at hand. But you have to find solution to it. And the solution must be found. I'm sorry, you cannot continue living in incompetence. Incompetence is not the answer to infrastructure. You have to be competent. So, we are discussing infrastructure today. That's what we're discussing. Let me see how I can do this. I gotta find a way to okay. So infrastructure is the discussion for today. So going forward, infrastructure. The topic of today is going to be clean water. Clean water is the topic of today. So tomorrow we'll deal with this electricity. Then the day after that is roads and bridges, roads. But these roads and bridges is going to be combined into one. Then we're going to talk about transportation. Transportation will take a lot of our time. Communication is going to take a lot of our time. Logistics will take a lot of our time. Health and security. Health we might not take because I've discussed health before, but I'm going to run some few things on health and get into security right away. Because all these things, everything here cannot exist without this. This is the paramount. That's why I'm going to discuss it last. So, what it means basically is that nothing here can be discussed. Nothing here can prove a point. Nothing here can even make any common sense if security is not finally discussed. So, moving forward, clean water. The discussion on clean water is going to be one that I would like to cover in earnest and cover in depth because it is what is required to run a community to even start anything about infrastructure. You have to have a clean water. Okay. Sound health starts with access to water. Throughout millennia, our ancestors understand that water is the most basic necessity that is required to maintain good health, continue civilization, and live in the land that is passed down from generation to generation. Men have devised means of achieving access to water, more especially clean water. Access to clean water had led to wars, displacement of towns and villages, conquering kingdoms, and making alliances and signing treaties. Civilization cannot continue without clean water. It is the most essential ingredient that humans need to live day by day, sustain life, water agriculture, cook, drink, and washing. River Niger. Yes, River Niger. That is the reason why I'm talking about River Niger is this. The the best the reason why Eastern Nigeria had survived for so long and have stood a test of time, and the humans in that region has been recorded to exceed over 50,000 years. People have come there and have died there. The language there has stood a test of time because of River Niger. Because one thing about the ancients is this, right? If you go to the previous slide that I have on, the previous slide says that throughout millennia, right, our ancestors understand that water is the most basic necessity that is required to maintain good health, continue civilization. Look at this. And live in the land that is passed down from generation to generation. So I'm going to concentrate on this right here. Continue civilization and live in the land that is passed down from generation to generation. So that right there is the basis of River Niger. It is the basis of River Niger, meaning that our ancestors, they knew quite all right that they do need a place called River Niger. That river, and that's called Omambala River, called Oshimiri. So Oshimiri and Omambala River is the local name for that area, for the water. And they knew the vitality of that water. They stayed in that land for thousands of years, refused to leave that area because they understood the value of this river. This river is the essential and the necessity why our ancestors lived the life that they lived because of this river Niger. So in so doing, they were able to sustain life, sustain agriculture, live healthily without losing a bit until the Europeans came to the land. And when the Europeans came, they went through these rivers to go to towns and villages. So now, check this out. River Niger, its source is in the Guinea Highlands in southeastern Guinea, near the Sierra Leone border. That's the source of the River Niger. It runs in crescent shape through Mali, Niger on the border with Benin, and then through Nigeria, discharging through a massive delta known as the Niger Delta, or the oil rivers, into the Gulf of Guinea in the Atlantic Ocean. The Niger is the third largest river in Africa, exceeded by the Nile and the Congo River. Its main tribute is the Benue River. That's right. Then, because the thing about it is this, when you come to Nigeria, right, the tributary is the Benue River is because it forms a Y shape over there at Kogi State by the Benue. So between just close to the Kogi State and the Benue State of the mid Nigerian country is where the two rivers both come together and then they formed, then they splitted. So at the split, that's why it's known as a its main tributary is the Benue River. So going down, River Niger. So right here, the the Niger River is a relatively clear river, carrying only a tenth as much sediment as the Nile River, because the Niger's headwater lies in an ancient rock that proves little silt. Like the Niger flows yearly. This begins in September, peaks in November, and finishes by May. As unusual features of the river is the inner Niger Delta, which forms where its gradient suddenly decreases. That's right. The result is a region of bridges, streams, marshes, and large lakes. That's right. The seasonal floods makes the delta extremely productive for both fishing and agriculture. I'll go in depth in this. The river loses nearly two-thirds of its potential flow in the inner delta between Segun and Timbuktu to seepage and an evaporation. That's the Timbuktu is in Mali. The water from the Bani River, which flows into the delta at Moputi, does not compensate for the losses. The average loss is estimated at 21 kilometer, that's kilometer cube per year, but varies considerably between years. The water from the Bani River, which flows into the into the delta at Mopti, does not compensate for the losses. Okay, I think I may have done that twice. So, water pollution. One thing is this, right? Let me go into a little depth. The problem of the modern day river, apart from the thousands of years of this of of the lower sub-Saharan Africa enjoying this river, the modern day problem is not industrialization. I won't say industrialization because when you talk about industrialization, you're talking about river pollutions flowing from industrial waste into the river. That is not a problem. The problem is just dirtiness, and uncultural activities. Dirtiness and uncultural activities that go on in that area. Case in point, water pollution. The most safeguard that any city, state, or country can implement is the flow of debris, waste, and particles to contaminate each river. Industrial waste, like if you look at this right here, this is a river that is not being taken care of. You look at it, this is Onitsha. You see right there is the hill area of Onitsha. You look at all that, right? You find out that the problem here is just the fact that the river is not well taken care of. During the rainy season, this water comes all the way here. That's how high the water can come. The gas is a large water that go through here. I tell you that for real. But the problem is, you see all this waste, all these trees, leaves, grasses on the river. Those things are supposed to be managed. But like right here, I say industrial waste, trashes, and any object shall not be allowed to flow into the river. Look at it. It's not being managed. So that means a lot of waste are coming from the city right into this river. And if you see the color of the river, it tells you that it's a highly polluted river. Cities, states, and countries should take preventive measures to stop objects and waste from contaminating each river. Pile up of sand, like this is now sandy because of these sands that are being piled up. Sands are being eroded into this water, and in such causes strong debris around the water. Like when you go over the River Niger bridge, you can see sand, how sandy this area has become. And people go through it like nonchalant. They don't even advocate for this area to be cleaned. Pile up of sand which results to grasses growing in the middle of the river can result to water pollution and poisoning of the river. Look at it. You see, these sands are piled up. When I was a little kid, we didn't have this. That was 30 something to 40 years ago. I didn't see this growing up as a little kid. When I went to Onitsha and saw this for the first time, I was shocked. I was like, what the hell happened? Because I knew when I was a little kid that this thing was as white as it comes. It was the most beautiful river I've ever seen in my life. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful as a little kid whenever we go over the bridge of the River Niger. It gives me a joy, happiness that I am stepping my foot into the eastern part of the country, the land of my ancestors. That's what I always song it to myself. I sing song to myself that I am stepping into the Big East. But today, the Big East is a very dirty East. It's a very sad thing. Very sad. Sand piles, sand spills can dump flow of water current, which can cause water stagnation, resulting in waterborne diseases. When you have there is nothing bad as having water stagnation. When you have water stagnation, you're going to develop things like cholera, which is going to make people to always go to the toilet. Sometimes cholera disease do kill. That's how bad it is. But excuse me, cholera is a result of stagnant water. So when you have blockage, these waters cannot flow. And when they can't flow, now you have cholera. So in Nigeria, we have this issue of cholera, but we have a lot of stagnant waters. That's why people have cholera. And sometimes people go to those streams to actually fetch drinking water. That's why we have cholera outbreak, because we don't take good care of our waters. This is not just industrial waste. This is stagnant water and water contaminated with grasses, which results to which when cause blockage, and if the water can't flow, guess what happened? It results to things like cholera. Polluted rivers can result in low output to fishery, which can impact food supply in locality or region. That's right. So when you have polluted river like this, it's going to impact the market. And one way it's going to impact the market is to impact the fisheries. And when you don't have enough fish uh being fished out of this water, right? That means there will be a low fish supply, which will result in hunger for most, because people need balanced diet. You can't eat food, you can't eat meat all the time. There are other types of edibles, that's proteins, that are not meat. Their proteins also include fish and chicken. So you have to have those in high supplies, and even turkey. You have to have those proteins in high supply, so that way you have what we call balanced diets. But you can't have such if you have a very, very low supply of such an ingredient that is needed to sustain life. So, moving forward, River Niger, clean up. How do we clean up? Because one thing about my discussion is this, right? Which I'm going to do a lot on this infrastructure, is this. I'm going to present the worst of the worst. Just get me right. I will present the worst of the worst, but in turn, I will also present solutions on what to do. Because I'm not just going to present the worst of the worst, right? I'm also going to present solution, because what we do basically in this space is solution based criticism. So I have discussed the worst of the worst. Yes, I have. But what is the solution? That is where I come in also to discuss the solution. So the thing becomes River Niger cleanup. The cleanup of River Niger was supposed to have commenced yesterday. So the cleanup was supposed to commence yesterday. Not today, not tomorrow, yesterday. In fact, yesteryears. Anambra State with all the riverbank state with all the riverbank state must embark on the cleanup activity of the River Niger. Drainaging of the River Niger will help in the water flow, thus helping to improve the commercial activities of the river roads. If you drainage this area, number one, you have to sink it more deeper than it is. Then you're able to cultivate this right here and make the riverbank much more. That's you build what they call slabs around here, so that way soils can flow into river. You drainage the river and makes it look and makes the normal color to come to the surface by digging deeper and also taking off all the sands that are there. I would say something of about 80, like I said before, 80 feet is good for a place like this. You dig it 80 feet, so that way there can be also transportation activities and other fun things that have to happen, which is like I will discuss that later. So let me not go ahead of myself. Drainage of the River Niger will help in the water flow, thus helping to improve the commercial activities of the river. Commercial fisheries activities in the river line will commence wo- on- once the river is cleaned up. Let me fix that. So, so what it says right here is this, right? Commercial fisheries activity in the river line will commence once the river is cleaned up, which will increase the revenue of the community by 250 times what it is today over the next 5 years, thereby generating employment in the area. The ecosystem will improve and thereby improving agricultural activities. That's right. I will say more about that right now. What I mean by this is this, right? Let me just put it this way. The ecosystem will improve and thereby improving agricultural activities. You see how green this place is, right? Just imagine this being cleaned up, and then people are planting things in their houses, well, and then or maybe forming some farm area around here while using this water to water those farms, right? Just check what is going to happen. It will increase the agricultural activities in this area. Not only is it increasing the agricultural activities, vegetations are going to be good, are going to look clean. The ecosystem is going to be more brighter, fresh air. It improves the life of everything. But let me not go ahead of myself, because these things are going to still go into detail. But for the cleanup, this is what I want to do. I want to play a video. It's very vital that I play this video, so that way some of us will understand how cleanup can take effect in this area. It's going to be a 9 minutes video, so please do watch this video. It's very, very vital, because I got to tell you, right, it's cleaning up of a city. Ha. You guys might not, you don't even understand how much fun it is when you clean your own house. Like, it's been dirty for a week, you know your house is dirty, and then you just wake up on your off day, you take your time to clean up your house. I gotta tell you, there is nothing more exhilarating, like that. It gives you joy, it gives you happiness, and it's just fun to see that happen. So let's just play this video so that way all of us can, hear it. Okay.
Ganga is a very important river for the country. Biggest environmental pressure is, of course, the pollution.
Due to increasing threats, human dependency upon riverine ecosystem, many of the species are in endangered category.
खेती बाड़ी की जो पद्धति है उसको बदलना चाहिए, बदलने की ज़रूरत है।
2014 is a turning point in the history of Ganga rejuvenation and treatment. People never thought that Ganga water can ever be clean. It will be a major path-breaking event in the history of India.
जब हमने पहला सर्वे हमारा शुरू किया था, पोल्यूशन लोड, फिशिंग प्रेशर, रिवर बेड एग्रीकल्चर यूजिंग फर्टिलाइजर वगैरह, ये सब बहुत ज़्यादा था। उस दौरान हम लोकल कम्युनिटी से भी बात करते थे कि रिवर के बारे में। उस टाइम लोगों में जागरूकता की कमी थी। नमामि गंगे के अंतर्गत जब ये प्रोजेक्ट को शुरू की गई तो डॉल्फिन को एज ए फ्लैगशिप स्पीसीज मानते हुए हमने बायोडाइवर्सिटी कंजर्वेशन एंड गंगा रिजुविनेशन की तरफ जो हमारी कदम थी उसको आगे बढ़ाया है।
The Ganga River Basin is not only home to 25,000 animal and plant species, such as the Ganga River dolphin. It also forms the spiritual and economic lifeline for almost half of India's population. Spreading across a quarter of the country's landmass, the Ganga contributes to an astounding 40% of the nation's gross domestic product. But the country's greatest natural asset is at risk.
Maybe last 25 years, we found that the water quality has come down drastically. The increase in urbanization and increase in the flow of dirty water into the river and large-scale abstraction of water for irrigation purposes was one of the main reasons. The industries on the bank, so we're letting out untreated water into the river. That's where the Wake call came in. So in 2014, they came out with a very comprehensive action plan for the rejuvenation of the river.
An action plan with the mission to invest $4 billion in restoring the river ecosystem.
जो मेजर लूप होल्स हमें दिखा था वो ये है कंजर्वेशन के लिए जो लोकल कम्युनिटीज है, ज़्यादातर फिशिंग कम्युनिटी, उनको हमने अवेयर किया किस तरह से डॉल्फिन हमें मदद कर रही है। वो सारी चीज़ें हमने उनको समझाया और इसका रिजल्ट भी हमें दिखने लगा है। बहुत सारे इंसिडेंट ऐसे हैं जहाँ पे लोकल कम्युनिटी को हम लोग जब सेंसिटाइज किए, उसके बाद जब उनके जाल में डॉल्फिन कभी भी फंसा हुआ है, उन्होंने डॉल्फिन को सेफली फिशिंग नेट से या फिशिंग गियर से रेस्क्यू करके वापस वाइल्ड में रिलीज किया है।
Under the Namami Ganga program, a people river connect has been established. And this is no longer a government program, it is a people's movement.
Agriculture is the major source of income for most of the rural population in the basin. It is also the largest consumer of water.
किसान के लिए पानी अमृत के समान है और बिना इसके जीवन संभव नहीं है। हर काम जहाँ शुभ कार्य है वहाँ गंगा के जल का ही इस्तेमाल किया जाता है। लेकिन आज के परिवेश में जो गंगा में कीटनाशक और फर्टिलाइजर जा रहा है उसका बहुत बुरा असर पड़ रहा है।
Up to 15% of nutrients added to the soil by fertilizers eventually find their way into the water system, and so do harmful chemicals. That's why restoring the river means restoring organic or natural farming practices.
मैं शिमला मिर्च की फसल लगाने जा रहा हूँ। जुताई करने के बाद जो मेरा डिस्टेंस एक लाइन से दूसरी लाइन की दूरी जो है 4 फीट है और इसमें मैं एक प्राकृतिक खेती का नेचुरल पदार्थ है, घन जीवामृत कह सकते हैं या कंपोस्ट खाद कह सकते हैं, ये मैं एक प्रक्रिया के तहत इसमें ऐसे बिखेरता हूँ। अभी मैंने खाद इसमें दे दिया है, तो इसको पौध ट्रांसप्लांटिंग करने से पहले एक हल्की सी पाटा से हम इसको समतल करते हैं ताकि जो उबड़ खाबड़ की जो मिट्टियाँ हैं वो समतल हो जाएं। उसके बाद हम ट्रांसप्लांट करते हैं। पिछले 1 वर्ष से मैं नेचुरली खेती पे आ गया हूँ, तो अब समय समय पे हमारे यहाँ किसान आते रहते हैं, तो हम लोग उनको समय समय प्रशिक्षण भी देते रहते हैं।
तो हम बेसिकली 3 कैटेगरी पे काम करते हैं, बायोडाइवर्सिटी, हैबिटेट, ह्यूमन डिस्टर्बेंसेस। कोई भी स्पीसीज रिवर पे है तो हो सकता है कि कहीं ना कहीं जो वाटर क्वालिटी है उनकी हैबिटेट प्रेफरेंस को वो हो सकता है कि एनहांस कर रहा हो। 11 o'clock पे हमें 2 साइटिंग्स मिली है डॉल्फिन की, तो वाटर पैरामीटर हमें नोट डाउन करना है, तो YSI से ले लो और मैं GPS का लोकेशन ले रहा हूँ अभी। बायोडाइवर्सिटी एक ऐसी अप्रोच है रिवर कंजर्वेशन के लिए, अगर हम बायोडाइवर्सिटी को सही तरीके से मैप करते हैं तो उसके साथ साथ जो एसोसिएटेड हैबिटेट्स हैं वो भी कहीं ना कहीं उनकी रेस्टोरेशन में हेल्प करता है।
We are also now promoting natural-based solutions like wetlands and constructed wetlands. Restoration of wetlands is a very important initiative because we require flow water to ensure that the biodiversity is returned and they thrive. The third important intervention is afforestation in a big way. On all the catchment area throughout the Ganga basin, almost 40,000 hectares of land has been treated with the plantations. All these things have resulted in very major improvement in the quality of water as well as return of biolife to a large extent in the river.
मिट्टी में तो काफी परिवर्तन आया है, जैसे कि पहले केचुआ वगैरह नहीं दिखाई देते थे, लेकिन हमें ऐसा लग रहा है हमारी मिट्टी के स्वास्थ्य को देखने पे, मिट्टी कलर को देखने पे काफी अच्छी बदलाव उसमें आया। जो समस्याएं उत्पन्न हो रही हैं हमारे समाज में, उसका अगर निदान कहीं से हो सकता है तो वो अपनी खेती बाड़ी को परिवर्तित करके ही हो सकता है।
जिस तरह से स्थानीय समुदाय ने डॉल्फिन को कंजर्वेशन का एक पिलर मानते हुए अपनी भागीदारी कंजर्वेशन के लिए बढ़ाया है, मैं मानता हूं कि ये बहुत बड़ी अचीवमेंट है।
The biggest learning this Namami Ganga project gives is that nothing is impossible.
Over 30,000 hectares of forest along the banks of the river have been restored. That's the equivalent of 42,000 football fields. And an estimated 1,500 kilometer stretch of river has been rejuvenated. By 2030, the initiative is expected to enhance the income of 2 million households.
I'm glad you watched that clip. So what that clip actually tells us is this. It tells us how a filthy river can be cleaned. But one thing in life is this: the more you let something get dirty, the more expensive it becomes to clean it up. But eventually you have to clean it up. Because if you don't clean it up, it can only get worse. You can kick it down to the next government to fix, but it doesn't fix anything. It clearly gets worse. So, what we have to be certain of discussing is this: how do we fix the problem? Because the dirtiness of the River Niger, it's a problem, and it's a problem that needs to be fixed. We can kick the can down the road, but eventually that problem has to be fixed. So, now that I'm done with that, I'm going to move forward. Riverbank activity. So, after the river has been cleaned, this is what you can expect when an infrastructure is developed. You can experience stuff like this. You can build a new water outpost. You can do whatever you want to do. You can create a wetland out of that river for activities like people parking their boats, live returning, having more. That's developing your landscape. So, right here, I said there is always a need for landscape at the vicinity of a river, especially for tourism and docking boats. So, going back to River Niger. Oh, I think I skipped something. My bad. I got to go back. Clean river. A clean river is a magnet of prime real estate. That's right. When you've cleaned up your river, it's a magnet for prime real estate. This is what you expect. The landscape will change. People will come and invest. A lot of things will change in that area because you know what? Now you brought about development. You can spread out development. You can make the place look more nicer, and you can actually utilize the land mass. Vegetation in the area grows more healthy. If you look at this, you can tell difference in vegetation. This is almost no vegetation, but this can become this overnight and more by cleaning up your river. Real estate property retain and increase their values. So, which means there is always increase in value. Like in our nature today, yes, real estate do increase value, but because of is a trader purchase. It's not a prime real estate for other white collars to come in and make massive purchase or develop the city, because the city itself has not been a magnet for white collar. But when it becomes a magnet for white collar, guess what is going to change? The river will change because people will protest. White collars will say this doesn't look good, and then they will be listened to and be placed. And that will also change the landscape. And in changing the landscape, it will change the way of living. Lifespan increases by 15 years in an area with clean water. It's been proven by United Nations. WHO proved that if in a place where there is no clean water, people might live for 50 years or below. But in a place with clean water, their lifespan can increase to 65. Aquatic animals are healthy and as well serve as healthy fisheries to the surrounding communities. Serves as healthy drinking water source, can be used for irrigation purpose, in turn produces healthy food source. Thriving water activities in the area and hence city life around the river. Yep. This right here applies to this. Well, let me say this too. Can be used for irrigation purpose and possibly produce healthy food source. Yep. When you have food source, thriving water activity in the area can enhance life and city life and around the river. This is what it does. You have people bringing their yachts, bringing their boats, people coming here to do so many kind of activity. It changes the landscape because number one, the water is clean, vegetations are healthy, landscape is beautiful, roads are well connected, city is more redesigned and more built up so that it becomes a prime real estate activity. There's always a need for landscape at the vicinity of the river, especially for tourism and docking boats. Space for docking yachts by the river, just like I said. Residents and citizens of the state and neighboring state can dock their boats. You see what they do? They dock their boats right here for extra life in the city. Then, riverbank activities. This is one other thing that you achieve when the water is clean. You can have ferry boat activities for tourism. Locals and visitors will ride jet skis, can be a source of revenue for the city. So it's stuff like this. People will bring business ideas. They will do businesses here. It will be a source of employment. It will be a source of revenue as well. Excuse me. So, like I said, it can also be a source of revenue generation. So when you have tourists come to your city, they want to see the infrastructure that is built on that city. They want to check out things. They want to go to places. They want to try out restaurants. They want to see what is around there. And sometimes you have all these passengers. They all go into a ferry and the ferry will drive them around to see all the city archaeology, all the city museums on the edge, and a lot of activities like war sites, um, so many sites, architectural sites, and they pay money to see those places. And guess where the money goes to? Into the city revenue. That's where the money goes to. Yeah. So this is practically the end. So, like I said, the infrastructure, that's the infrastructural discussion. It's not going to be that much of a thing that I'm going to discuss here because the thing is this: it's a lot of conversation. Because why I don't want to be giving lengthy description of what I'm going to say is so that way, if we have panels coming up to discuss things like this, we can actually go in depth and discuss it. So some of my videos will be like 1 hour, some will be 2 hours, some will be 3 hours, depend on the topic of the day. But like I said, when when we when we develop our place, when we embark on activities like this, it changes life, it improves property value, of lifespan increases, and the deal that's what we get out of it is just huge. So I would say this, please, guys. Let's keep talking about this. Like tomorrow, the way I said tomorrow, the discussion for tomorrow is going to is going to come close to electricity. But before I go into electricity, I'm also going to discuss the value of lakes, which is wetland. Why we should have wetland. So once I discuss that value of lakes, then I'm going to move straight up into electricity. So the electrical stuff, I'm going to start it very, very much on time tomorrow at 12. I want to start that at 12 o'clock because there is a need for us to discuss this. It's the biggest problem in Nigeria, and we have to discuss it. The economic importance of having an electricity is very, very vital. I know that the whole of Nigeria knows the revenue. There is nobody today you can tell what we lose in electricity that won't believe you. They will. So thank you so much, and may you listen and take some of this home so that it can be an inspiration, to all of us, because I know deep down in our hearts that we can make things happen. So thank you so much, guys, and have a good day. Bye bye.